You have everything that you need inside of yourself right here, right now. And the more that people understand that the beings who are telling you they're coming to save you, that they're going to come and help you, are not the highest of vibrational beings, because you don't need somebody to help you and to save you. You have everything you need right inside yourself, and we have everything that we need with every single person here. So I'm not saying you have to save yourself on your own. I'm saying we're supposed to be connecting deep within inside of ourselves to our soul, to our consciousness, to our connection back to Source, God, whatever you align with, as well as the people around us, to come together as a community to be stronger together, not so some outside force and being can save you. There are a lot of things going on in the world today, a lot of things that have happened that are leaving people with great questions. There's a lot of things that people are posting that are leaving other people questioning them. There's a lot of resistance to what people see. Today in this episode, I'm going to dive in with a group of my clients and my followers to some of the energetics that we are experiencing right now. And not just the energetics, but the situation. So we're going to cover some more global topics that are unfolding and ones that might be really close to your heart. And we're going to dive into the energetics behind it. So this isn't a place for us to gossip and talk about all the things that are happening, even though I'm sure some of that will come up because we're humans. But in this episode, we are going to dive into the energetics behind things and what we see and what we understand, so that we really have a clear view of what's going on in the world right here, right now, today, and why it's going on. We're going to cover such things such as the Charlie Kirk shooting, such as the AI that's going on. I had somebody ask me about the UFO that the military missile bounced off of. And then I'm going to also take some things from the audience, and we're going to just start diving in and having these conversations. Welcome to the Psychic Within Live. Let's go. So today, I want to start talking about things that you guys want to talk about. Every single month, we do these live global chats, and I always leave it up to you guys. So I'd love for you guys to suggest where we start. I personally feel like there are a ton of things going on around the world that you guys might want some energetic reads on. So I'm open to your guys' suggestions of where you want to start and what questions you have regarding what's going on in the world. Well, today is supposed to be the rapture. Yes. So today is supposed to be the rapture. And I'm going to be honest with you. I actually had to look up what the rapture was when one of my friends messaged me this morning to say it. And I will first start by letting you guys know, and I know you guys know this. I don't know if my audience know this. I am not religious. I'm not religious. I was not raised religious. I do not pretend to be religious. I do not have the same beliefs as religious people have. Not at all. Okay. So I actually had to look up what the rapture was. And I will tell you, energetically speaking, when I look at the rapture, for one, it is simply just a fear-based energy. And whether it originated in fear-based energy, and I don't know if this is true, but I read someplace really quickly in just a really quick Google search, which I never do, but I did a Google search just to understand like what the rapture actually was. And I saw that it originated from like a priest or something in South Africa. Now, one of the things when I look at the energy of this, it's just an energy of fear and an energy of, there's a slight energy of control mixed in with this. Do I believe that today is a rapture and that that's what's going to happen between today and tomorrow? No, I don't. Now, are there going to be people who pass today and tomorrow? Yes. Could there be a lot of people that pass today and tomorrow? Yes. Does it mean it's the rapture? No. Now, I know in reading it, I also read that there are a lot of things that happen leading up to the rapture. And can I absolutely look at those things that I read? Again, because I'm not religious, I didn't know what the rapture was. Have those things happened in real life? Yeah. Yeah. Is it justifiable for somebody to say, this is the days of the rapture? Yes, because all of the things that I at least saw in my very quick 5-minute Google, and then I was like, I don't have time for this. I have a big day. In my very quick Google search, all of those things have happened. All of those things have happened. But do I believe, energetically speaking, that today or tomorrow is the rapture? I do not. Now, if it is, maybe you'll never see this video posted. If it wasn't, you are probably sitting here watching this YouTube video right now. And here's the thing, that a lot of times we come to situations in life, like I can remember the Y2K era. And I'm sure most of you are alive during Y2K and people were like, oh my God, the whole world is going to collapse during Y2K. It didn't. We are all here. Nothing happened. And there are a lot of things that prophets or ministers or priests, I'm not sure which one, again, not religious, speak about that don't happen. And it doesn't mean that energetically we don't feel something. I know today is a very intense energetic day, but sometimes these really big claims stem from fear. If something stems from fear, it's not true. If something really big was going to happen, and I've talked to a couple people have come forward to me saying they heard about Charlie Kirk, that something was going to happen, or they heard that something terrible was going to happen that day, but there was no fear around it. It was just a message. It was just a message. So whenever anything is riddled with fear, it's a really great tool for you guys to understand. Whenever anything holds fear, it is not of truth. It's just not of truth. That is one way to distinguish between the two. I've seen some of these, somebody says, I've seen some of these people are giving away all of their possessions. That's kind of crazy. I do wonder what is going to happen for these folks if this doesn't happen, like their mental health. Yeah. And I do think that in times of crisis, which I think as a global community, there's absolutely room here for us to say that some people can feel like we're in crisis mode. I do not feel like we're in crisis mode at all. I don't. But I do know some people can. And in times of crisis or in times of huge shifting and huge changes, people lean into their faith, which I think is an amazing thing. I think it's an amazing thing. But if their faith is leading with fear, it can put people in a worse space. And that's something really important to understand. Could this also be feeding more of the entity or low vibe being clusters that we are seeing more and more? That's a really great question. So one of the things that I've seen and I've shared with my audience over and over and over again is that there are absolutely low vibe energies and low vibe entities, low vibe beings that are impacting the way that life is unfolding for all of us as a global community, as well as, and for certain people, they're affecting their lives more and more and more. When we feed into fear, when we have this like global conscious shifting of like this horrible thing's going to happen, when there's a lot of violence, when we lash out at other people, all of those things, any low vibrational action, belief, thought, global movement feeds the entities. And it makes them bigger and bigger and bigger. And we will see more of them. We are going to see more of them come forward because that low vibrational energy that we're holding actually calls them forward. And it puts them in this space of, I have power over you. That's what entities want. Entities want power over you. Entities want to control you. They want to feed off of that energy. They love that energy. They love to see us battling each other in conflict. They love that. And that's what some of these events create, that ability for more and more low vibe energies to come here. And as well as, and those that are here, it allows them to get stronger because we're fueling them with our fear, with our anger, with our frustration. So the UFO, I didn't see it, but I was driving home last night. I got the myth, the legend of my son who like nobody ever sees my son. I got him out of the house last night. We went shopping. And on the car ride home, he said, what do you think of the UFO? And I was like, what UFO? And he said the UFO that the military tried to shoot down, but the missile bounced off of it. And at first I was like, it's 9:00 at night. I had been up since 4. At first I was like, was it AI or was it real? And he was like, no, even like dad saw it and his father doesn't do a lot of social media or anything like that. It's not like the real news. It really happened. He's like, no, it wasn't AI. And he's really good. He's a computer kid. So I was like, actually, I didn't even see it. I said, I haven't even heard it. It hasn't come across my feed. Now it probably will. And one of the things that I said to my son, and he's a very opinionated, debating, opinionated, most logic-based child you will ever, and he's 22, so I say child, but he's 22, you ever see. I said to him, one of the things that humans have to understand is that the aliens out there are much stronger, they're much smarter, and they're much more advanced than humans are. So it would not surprise me if there truly was a UFO and the military tried to shoot it down, that the missile would just bounce right off. We as humans are very foolish. We have followed this crazy narrative that the aliens are coming because they want to learn from us, or we've trapped them somewhere, or we've shot down their UFO, or, we've captured them. The only way us as humans can capture an alien is if they let us. If they let us. Any being who is able to travel through space, we'll say through space and time, through space in order to get here in the physical form, whether they have an aircraft or not, is worlds smarter than any human exists here. Worlds smarter. And they have so much more technology than we do. So much more technology than we do. They didn't come here to study us. They already know all about us. They didn't need to come here to study us. They already have that connection. And so I don't doubt it. Now, I don't doubt it that a missile, I'm going to say missile because it obviously wasn't a bullet for shooting it at a UFO. It would be much bigger. I don't know guns and calibers and all that kind of stuff. But I also will tell you, since we're on the UFO topic and the alien topic, is that aliens have been coming to Earth for a very long time. They let us see us when they want to. What I have seen more and more is that aliens are going to come to Earth more and more, and they're going to allow us to see them more and more. We're going to get to have these experiences. They're also going to begin to show us what their true capabilities are. They're going to show us that. And if this truly was a UFO, and I did do some looking at it last night, and I honestly haven't thought about it since until we sat down here and I'd actually written out a list of things that we could talk about today. And that is on my list, but I haven't even thought about it. When I look at it, it feels like a solid object to me. It feels like a very solid object. And it feels like one of those, especially if we connect it to aliens, it feels like one of those things that the aliens are showing us exactly what they want us to see and exactly what they want us to know, and are starting to show us their power. And they're also contributing to some of the chaos that Americans are experiencing. And I will also tell you, let me read some of these comments. I'm curious about any natural disaster. Okay, there's just more things to look at. Okay. I don't think this is just connected to Americans. I absolutely believe it is worldwide. And I do believe, in my limited knowledge of alien experiences that people have had on Earth, because I'm not claiming to be well aware of all of them. I don't follow a lot of the news, so I'm sure there are many. Some are false, some are not, some are made up, some are created. And I will tell you, looking at the energy of a UFO, it seems solid, okay? And the reason I'm stressing that it seems solid is because it doesn't have a lot of energetics around it at all. And if you had to say, was this an actual UFO or was it man-made and created? I'm not saying the video is AI, okay? It doesn't feel like a true UFO to me. It just doesn't feel like one. It feels like feels like nothing's gonna come of it. It feels like it was more man-made. To me, even last night when my son said it, it's why the first thing I said was it AI? Because the UFO doesn't feel like it's connected to actual aliens to me, energetically speaking. It just doesn't feel it. It doesn't have it. Now, everything that I said about aliens, 100% true. They have been coming here for a very long time. But I also know that the ones that are coming here aren't necessarily making themselves known. Why would they want to do that? Why would they want to do that? I think we use aliens a lot as a distraction and as a fear-based tool. And I will tell you what, I remember laughing a couple years ago when the government admit that there was aliens and it like wasn't a big deal. Nobody cared because we all know there are aliens. We all know there are. It doesn't hold the shock value anymore. Especially with the world that we live in today, it doesn't hold the shock value. And I think seeing a UFO and a missile bounce off of it, meaning like the military can't even protect us from it, can absolutely be a shock factor for people. But again, it doesn't feel like it was actually a true UFO to me. It doesn't hold that energy at all. So let's look at some of the other comments and stuff that people are questions. So many folks channeling aliens are being misled, especially galactic feed. I do agree with that. So I am absolutely one of those believers, and not just because of my opinion, but because of my channeling experiencing, that a lot of people who are channeling aliens are being misled by the aliens, by what they're channeling. There are very few, I will say it right here, right now, is that the Galactic Federation is not of the highest vibration. It is not a group I would ever channel with. Can I? Yeah. Have I connected to their energetics before? Yeah. Have I channeled messages from them? No, because I wouldn't, because it is not a high vibration. It is not what people should be channeling and getting information from and using that guidance from. I don't agree with a lot of the things. I will also put it out here, right now, that Pleiadians as well. They are not, I just wouldn't go be channeling the Pleiadians. I don't like their vibration. They don't have the highest. And a lot of aliens that people are connecting to, the reason they're able to connect to them is because they hold a lower vibration. They hold a lower integrity level. And they use humans as manipulation tools in order to get what they want, and because they have an agenda. So I'm not a huge fan of a lot of those things that people channel at all. But also a lot of people have been waiting. This is what somebody is saying. Also, a lot of people have been waiting for a big disclosure event in the sense that aliens are coming as our saviors. I don't feel this is the case. Nobody is coming as our savior. Nobody is coming as our savior. Aliens aren't coming as our savior. Part of our purpose here on Earth, nothing that's happening globally is for a savior purpose. Part of our experience at Earth at this time, okay? This doesn't stand for generations before us, and it doesn't hold for 100 years ago, okay? Even decades ago. Our purpose on Earth right here, right now, is to fully tap into our power. If you are fully tapped into your power, nobody comes to save you. Somebody might give you guidance. Somebody might give you direction. Somebody might offer some help, but you don't need saving. You have everything that you need inside of yourself right here, right now. And the more that people understand that the beings who are telling you they're coming to save you, that they're going to come and help you, are not the highest of vibrational beings, because you don't need somebody to help you and to save you. You have everything you need right inside yourself, and we have everything that we need with every single person here. So I'm not saying you have to save yourself on your own. I'm saying we're supposed to be connecting deep within inside of ourselves, to our soul, to our consciousness, to our connection back to Source, God, whatever you align with, as well as the people around us, to come together as a community, to be stronger together, not so some outside force and being can save you. So it's not how that works. Not how it works. They definitely feed the ego, just like entities do. They feed the ego. Most who channel these beings have to lend their body and or blend their energy to be able to connect. Yes, that's a really great point. They do. And we're not supposed to be doing that. We're not supposed to be blending or lending our body to connect with a being. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Any other global topics you want me to read the energetics around? Questions you have that you want the energetics around at all? Has anybody read the energetics around what happened to Charlie at the event and what the FBI is saying? Because I have. Absolutely. There's not a situation that happens that I don't read the energy that directly affects us and is put out to the community that I don't read the energetics around. Somebody is asking about, I'm curious about Charlie's wife and her energy. They're saying that her energy feels so off. They're saying that I'm not gone into her energy, but it does feel off. So I want to first start this by saying I've lost a partner. It is the most horrific thing I've ever experienced in my life. So on a level, I understand part of what Erica Kirk is going through, 100%. Now, I'm not in her situation, wasn't the same situation, and I'm sure she is dealing with a ton of stuff. I'm not questioning her actions. We show up and we do things how we do them in the energy that we're in the only way possible. Okay? That being said, I'm reading the energetics around it and around what has been put out. One of my things, and I will use this as a caveat, is I don't dive into anybody's energy or energetics of anything that's hidden or secret, unless it's like public knowledge, public stuff, like what the FBI is saying and the shooting itself. I won't dive into somebody's personal things that are going on. And I won't dive into their history and their traumas and all that kind of stuff when I'm reading energetics, even though I can. And I will tell you, when I listen to some of the things that his wife is saying, her energy is not hers. It is also not the energy of grief, meaning that her energy is not off just because of grief. And I know people have said that, and I completely understand. When I look at the energy of everything that's unfolding, that's connected with this and what we're able to see and what we're experiencing, I just keep getting the word like a facade. There is a show that is being put on that we get to witness and we get to see, and it's put on for a very specific reason. There is a show. When I look at her energy doesn't feel like her own. It feels very, very disconnected, and there is a numbness. Now, you could say, if you don't understand energetics, you could say, well, I'm sure she's numb. She just lost her husband. And I, again, am not judging her as a human. I'm just looking at the energetics of it. It is a different numb than numbing yourself from the pain. That is a disconnect. This is a very, very different energy. This is an energy that doesn't match hers and wouldn't match hers, even in grief and emotional numbness. In experiencing, there is a different energy at play. There is also an energy that I have read, and I feel bits and pieces of it, of like an acting energy. Now, I'm not saying her sadness is acting, but there's something that she's doing. And for me, it's more towards, I have to do this. I have to put on a show. I have to stand there. I have to do what they say. I have to do what they ask me. There is no doubt in my mind, energetically looking at it, that there are things that are 100% scripted for her to read. 100% scripted. Now, whether she agreed to it or not, that is besides the point. But there are things that are 100% scripted. It is a show that is being put on for the benefit of the audience. And that's so much of what it is. And the performing energy or the acting energy is 100% for our benefit. And it absolutely feels like there's something else's energy behind it. There's something's energy behind it. There is a coldness that exists behind it. There is a simply like, I have to do this. There's almost like a takeover energy that it feels like there is in there. It's a very weird takeover energy. I'm going to read some of the comments from people who are joining me. I don't feel grief, at least at the forefront. There are certain times that I do, like I've watched clips from the memorial, and you can definitely see grief in the energy of the memorial, for sure, directly from his wife. So that's absolutely important, and that's something that is very hard not to say. Performative, doing what's necessary. Yeah, you're definitely numb, but this is a takeover, manipulation. Something is speaking into her. I can tell you as a young widow, I know this person who's leaving this message also is a young widow. You do feel like all eyes are on you, and you are in some sense acting, but there's not a grief in her. Yeah, and I do agree with that, but I also, in my own experience, I did not care who was acting and who was watching. And I will tell you what, I know both of my children, I experienced this death. I was, in a sense, a widow. We weren't married, we weren't legally married, but I was a widow. And I know two of my children said, I just can't imagine you standing up there and giving us a speech like that. And I had said to them, I couldn't even stay in the room. After there's like a celebration of life after, I actually had to leave because it was so upsetting to me that there were people around me that could celebrate and were happy and were, laughing and drinking and joking. And I just could not get out of that sadness. And I had to leave that celebration, ask somebody to take me home because I couldn't stay in that space. So for me, acting was never part of it. I didn't care what eyes were on me. I just couldn't. But that was my experience. And I'm not saying that she can't be happy or she can't celebrate. I think that's actually a really beautiful thing. I think that's a really beautiful thing. But it's not about her actions for me. It's not even about, the words that she spoke. It's the energetics behind it for me, that there is something very, very off with those energetics. Very off with those energetics. It just doesn't feel, it's not her energetics. It's not hers there. It's not the energetics that should be there based on the events that are happening. Like another being taking over or having the toe of the line because the powers that be. It feels more to me, it doesn't feel like she was taken over by another being, by a lower vibrational energy. Not at all. She hasn't been taken over, but it's more of towing the line because of the powers that be, for sure. For sure. It has to do with the powers that be, that her energy to me feels like this. It also feels as if there are times inside her first speech that it felt forced, like she had to do it. And there's even, there is this self-preservation energy. So I would explain this in a human form of she's thinking about herself and her children and what is the best move for them. And I think that is also very, very important. Very, very important. There were things I could not do. I didn't even drive a car for the first a week and a half. I remember getting back into a car because everyone drove me everywhere and just being like, oh, wow, this is the weirdest feeling is driving again. Actually, people made sure I ate. It was just, I was in a very different place. I do see her stepping into a very public role. I also see her being taken under, somebody asked, do you see her stepping into a political role? And I see her taking a very public role. I also see her being taken under the wing of people who are in power. So, and to me, it has a very Pawnee feeling. Now, I believe she is a very powerful woman. And I believe she can make her own decisions and her own choices and all of that kind of stuff. But I also definitely believe that there are people that are going to take her under their wing and share with her what should be said and what shouldn't be said. And I do believe they're also going to, looking at the energetics, they're going to use her late husband as a pawn, he would want you to say this. He wanted this. And it feels more to me like it's forced, but I also believe that there is a desire from her to carry on what her husband did. So there will be also an element of choice mixed into that. Also an element of choice. In the energy I channeled around this, I saw that she kept her eyes closed to pivotal things leading up to the moment of the event. I don't think she could have predicted this, but there is an awareness of the dysfunction within type thing. Yeah, I agree. I do think that keeping her eyes closed is a great analogy. To me, it looks as if she didn't want to believe the things that she was feeling. That she felt something, she knew something, and she didn't want to believe. And yeah, turning a blind eye kind of thing. Yeah, absolutely. Those are both great analogies. And I also think her faith has a huge part in that. She does have a very strong faith. And I also think her faith could also help her through this I will admit, when I went through this, I did not have a strong faith. I was questioning everything, everything. And I do think her faith has part to do with this as well. But I do believe she felt it. I do believe he felt it coming. I do believe he knew it was going to happen. Not that he knew he was going to sit there at that exact moment and get shot, but I do believe he knew it was coming. And he definitely knew it was a possibility, and I bet you he felt it. But I also totally believe that there was nothing anyone could do to stop this. They weren't going to stop it. So even though she knew, I think she had that intuitive hit that it was going to happen, or she had that feeling that, that knowing, there's nothing that she was going to be able to do to stop this. And I say that because I have looked at this event to see, was this something that shouldn't have happened? A lot of people have said that he has a great message that was supposed to carry on, and that he shouldn't have died, like it wasn't his time or whatever. And I actually disagree with that. I disagree with it not being his time. Every single human has exit points, and this was definitely one of his exit points, and it was going to happen no matter what. Like, it was going to happen. And I do believe it was supposed to happen, and that there's a lot of things that are going to unfold from it. And there's a lot of things that have unfolded from it. And I think that's why, for me personally, that's why it has felt so strong and so important, is because this is definitely something that plays a greater role in humanity itself. It definitely plays a huge role. His passing plays a huge role. And it has affected people globally. And when I looked at the energetics of it, the high vibrational guides, as well as the high vibrational guides that I connect with, they said there's a bigger unfolding here. There's a lot of aspects of this. There's a lot of different energetic points here. But there's also a much bigger unfolding that we have yet to see. And it was one of those things that I saw and I was told, and I also shared in one of the posts that I wrote, is we haven't even begun to see it. We're going to get to see what's really unfolding as it continues to unfold. This is the starting point, but a lot more things are going to unfold. And it has way more to do with a lot of different things, not just Charlie himself. It wasn't just about him. It's about all of us. And I think that's why so many people are feeling it on so many different levels for so many different reasons. And he was just kind of like a part, he's playing a part in a greater unfolding that it's super important that we're all aware of that greater unfolding. A catalyst, one of the people in the audience is a catalyst, but also speaks to the importance of humanity needing to be able to use discernment and to understand the energetics and not just listen to and watch the show. I 100% agree. So thank you guys so much for joining me on the Psychic Within live podcast. This was recorded live with a private group of mine and some of my clients and my followers. And thank you guys for posing those questions and being part of this. I know this is a little different than what we normally do, but I really do appreciate that. And if you are not like and subscribe, please be sure to like and subscribe to my podcast. If you want to be part of more of these global chats, we do them monthly inside of my Sovereign Psychic membership. Come and join us on these conversations. I did this a little bit different. Normally people are talking and we're having these full-on conversations, but I gave the people the option to be on camera or not, and they didn't want to be. But instead we have really great conversations where more people speak, not just me. So if you're interested, you could find the link down below in the show notes, and I will see you guys next time on the Psychic Within podcast. Bye guys.